Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So residents in one state can qualify for up to $12,000 in rebates. We have $943 payments going out in just a few days to SSI recipients. And President Joe Biden finally promised to shut down the border. He said he could do it on day one if they pass the bill. We'll be covering that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Also, if you would like to receive up to $9,000 in free stocks or $9,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Webull. All you have to do is once you click on that link, is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least 1 penny. At that point, Webull will be sending you at least 3 free stocks worth, once again, all the way up to $9,000. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, and that is Biden vowing to shut down the border when it, quote, becomes overwhelmed if Congress passes the bill. So according to The Hill, President Biden promised to shut down the border, quote, when it becomes overwhelmed if Congress passes a bipartisan border security bill. Biden said that, let's be clear, what's been negotiated would, if passed into law, be the toughest and fairest set of reforms to secure the border we've ever had in our country. It would give me, as president, a new emergency authority to shut down the border when it becomes overwhelmed. And if given that authority, I would use it the day I sign the bill into law. Now, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said if reports about the terms of the deal are accurate, legislation on border security and Ukraine aid would have been, quote, dead on arrival in the House in a letter to colleagues on Friday. He said, I wanted to provide a brief update regarding the supplemental and the border since the Senate appears unable to reach any agreement. If rumors about the content of the draft proposal are true, it would be dead on arrival in the House anyways, Johnson said. The United States Custom and Border Protection confirmed that in December, there were 302,034 encounters at the southern border, setting a record high. So obviously things are getting out of hand. Now, as far as Biden makes a comment about shutting down the border, but only when it becomes overwhelmed. So I guess when it's not overwhelmed, he's not going to shut down the border. Question that being, what exactly in Biden's mind or members of Congress's mind, at what point is the border going to be overwhelmed? What's their definition of being overwhelmed? Is it 300,000 border crossings per month? Is that reaching the point of being overwhelming? Is it 400,000? Is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? Let's make these definitions clear, because Biden, I mean, interestingly enough, why does Biden care about the border now that it's 2024 and we are only, 10 months away from the next election? Is it because the election is coming up? Does Biden even know what's going on at the border? Nobody really knows. And we have one member of Congress, and Rand Paul, completely against this bill, mostly because of the Ukraine funding. And he makes a funny comment, kind of a question, like, when do we become the sugar daddy of the world? So according to The Messenger, President Joe Biden has pushed a $100 billion spending package that includes spending on Ukraine, Israel, and the United States' own southern border. Republican lawmakers, however, have pushed back against Ukraine funding, some wanting it to cut it altogether, and some arguing for larger border reforms in exchange. Rand Paul said, it's not entirely clear how proposed humanitarian funding for Gaza and Israel is being split up, and he used the Gaza support to make a larger point about the U.S. supporting, quote, both sides in wars as Hamas is in control of Gaza. He said, they're going to expect us to clean up and repair Ukraine when it's done being destroyed. The same with Gaza. Gaza is being destroyed, but who's going to have to pay for it? Paul said. They expect us to pay for it, and I don't want a penny going to Hamas or any of these people. And Paul said that he has sympathy for the people of Gaza, but argued that the U.S. should not be expected to fork over the bills. He said, quote, look, I have great sympathy for those who live in Gaza and the mess that they're in, and I wish it would stop, but I don't think we should always have to pay for everything, the senator said. When did we become the sugar daddy of the world? And interestingly enough, we're going to have a lot of people who look at his comment or the mainstream media and say, oh, look how controversial or mean this guy is. But when exactly did it make sense, or how does it make sense to fund all the wars that are taking place throughout the world, let thousands of people kill each other in these wars, millions of dollars of destruction, And then after the wars are done and nothing ever like happens, where nothing ever really gets resolved or gets better, we're expected to go in and pay to clean up all the mess. And if you look at the US debt clock here, 34 trillion, this isn't $34 trillion sitting in our government's bank account. This is $34 trillion in debt. $34 trillion. And we're actually spending close to, I believe, right around $1 trillion in interest alone. I mean, think if you receive your credit card bill in the mail from Capital One, Chase, or whoever else, and you saw that you owed Capital One $34 trillion. Would you at that point be able to continue to spend on it? No. And we were just continuing to spend and spend, not even in our country. We're not making our border a priority. Instead, we're funding all these wars abroad. So for like the mainstream media and other, I guess, commentators to say that Paul's comments are controversial or terrible, what a terrible guy this is, to say that we should not be funding all these wars, not be the sugar daddy of the world, just completely insanity. But moving into some other news, of course, we have Social Security payments going out in just a few days, $943. These are going to be going to SSI recipients. So according to the Washington Examiner, the first SSI payments of the new year, worth up to $943 for individual filers, will go out to recipients in less than 1 week. The payment, which will be the first check of 2024 because of a scheduling quirk in the Social Security Administration's calendar, will be released on Thursday. And this year, individual filers will receive up to $943 each month. Eligible couples will receive up to $1,415, and essential persons, those who live with people receiving SSI payments and provide them with necessary care, will get up to $472 each month, according to the SSA. So those are payments going to be going out in just a few days on February 1st. And then finally, one state, there's going to be residents who can possibly qualify up to $12,000 in rebates. We're going to be going over the state right now. So according to Newsweek, up to $12,076 is available to those who qualify for the California Earned Income Tax Credit, the Young Child Tax Credit, and the Federal Earned Income Tax Credit. For the Cal EITC, low-income residents can see a payment worth up to $3,529 for the 2023 tax year. To qualify, residents need to make $30,950 or less yearly. Those looking to apply should use the 2023 FTB 3514 form. Even if you make more than that amount, you could still stand to benefit. Those earning less than $63,398 may apply for the EITC, which could boost payments even more. Meanwhile, the YCTC is another option to raise your rebate amount. This tax credit offers up to $1,117 per tax return, and there's an additional foster youth tax credit offering $1,117 per person, or $2,234 per filing couple. The FYTC states that you must be a current or former foster youth who received care at age 13 or older and were placed in California's foster care system to qualify. So for up to $12,000 in tax rebates for California residents. And really throughout, the whole U.S., there's different states offering different programs right there. More than likely, we're not going to see a fourth stimulus check at the federal level, where we have these nationwide $1,200 payments going out to everyone. But pretty much every state has some type of program like this where you can qualify for certain financial assistance. Let me know your state below if you would like for me to research your state, and I will definitely do my best to do so. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.